Hello ladies and gentlemen, An Idiot Imports is sponsored by PlayAsia, and this copy of the game you're about to see probably came from them as part of their sponsorship deal, unless I very specifically say it didn't in the video. If you want to support this series, use the link in the description to go to PlayAsia and buy an item or two. It'll help me out and increase the budget I get for import games. You can also use the coupon code BLUEVITA at checkout to save a bit of money, but it won't count towards my sales if you don't use that link. Either way, thanks for your support and enjoy the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm finally checking out Attack on Titan 2. This is the Japanese version because the Vita version was the only version that didn't make it across the ocean. I'm not entirely sure why, but to be fair, after Warriors All-Stars didn't make it over, we really shouldn't be surprised. Nevertheless, let's go take a look anyway. Now, one of the nice things about this game coming out in English and Japanese at the same time was that I actually got to watch a couple of streams of it, and it actually helped me learn the majority of the game before I even went into it, which was really nice. So there's a bunch of things we don't really have to worry about down here, like I believe this option goes to the PlayStation Store for add-ons. This one, actually I don't remember what this one does, I don't think it's anything important. Yeah, it's just the tutorial stuff, right. Fourth option I believe is the actual options menu. Yep, it's right here. You got difficulty, gore, and I can't remember what that third one is, I apologize. All these options here are, I believe, heads-up display options, and the rest are obvious. Rebind your controls, your camera sensitivity and inversions, and your sound sliders. It's a pretty basic Tecmo Koei effort. You can also come down here to do things with cross-save and stuff, but I won't worry too much about that. I'll just go into this to show you that apparently I'm 4 hours in, which isn't 100% accurate. I'm not entirely sure where they added like an extra 30 minutes on, but it's close enough that I'm not really going to argue too heavily with it. You've also got your things here. One of them is your gallery completion. I think one of them is how many investigations you've completed, and the top one of the three percentages is how many story missions you've completed. So I believe I've gone through 1/3 of the story already, which is actually a surprisingly large amount. Can't remember what the third option is either, so let's just hop into it real quick. Oh yeah, it's a gallery. So we can come here and we can have a look at some of the videos and stuff like that. I just got some bloody spit went down the wrong pipe. Jesus, that actually hurt. Sound test. I can't remember exactly what this is. This might be the character model browser thing? Yeah, models and animations, I think? Or it might be sound test. Whatever, you get the general idea. It's your typical Tecmo Koei gallery. So, your two modes are your story mode and your another mode. And another mode is where the majority of your multiplayer stuff is. So, I don't think you can play through the story mode in co-op. We'll go do a little bit of the story mode first. Notably, the story mode in this game is a bit weird. It makes you do a bunch of missions in a row before you can go back to the major hub place in order to do things like your character interactions. So I had to go through like 8 of the game's missions, which is 1/3 of the game's missions in order to actually get back here. And I haven't done any of the tutorials or like exclamation point things that they've got set up here yet. So we can go talk to dudes. And the game's got a lot of voice acting. Like, it's some really good voice acting. Like, I have seen enough of Attack on Titan 2 to know what's going on, but I'm pretty sure I'm past the point where I actually got up to in the original anime. So, I don't really know what's happening from here. Notably, the story actually retells this from the point of a custom character. It goes to the very beginning and you go through it from a different angle from the first game, which is actually a really nice touch. And it means that the missions don't play out exactly the same way they did last time, which I am actually really appreciative of. Just because it means that you don't have to play through the same shit over and over again. So you can go and talk to people, and they'll give you a little bit of a talk, and eventually they'll ask you a question, and you can choose one of these 3 different responses. And as far as I can tell, what response you're meant to do is, well, not random, but you're not going to be able to predict what response you can do just by pressing a certain button. So basically, if you don't want to go to the effort of translating any of that, just pick one and hope it comes out for you. Unfortunately, there is one option that you can pick every time that won't actually give you anything, and that can happen a lot. I apologize for not letting you hear the voice acting, but I would like to talk about it. It's a nice enough system, and there's also a bunch of things that it helps you do. Like, it will give you a little bit more information about the particular character if you get them to the high enough level, and it'll also upgrade them. And if you upgrade them, it'll actually give you extra skills that you can use, which is actually quite useful. I don't have very many extra skills yet because, as I said, I had to go through like 2 hours worth of story missions in order to actually get to this point. So I don't really, I don't actually have many skills to actually use. So you can actually do a fair amount of customization with your character. You can change a bunch of the size of like their face. You can change their clothes and stuff. A fair amount of things you can do. You can also change your clothes later. It's pretty basic stuff, but it's nice that it's there. Plenty of different voices and stuff. They've even got different like names for all the characters here, so you can hear them call out the characters' names as they go on to an attack when you actually get into a fight. It's pretty good stuff, actually. I'll give them credit for a good custom character creation system. I'm just gonna skip the rest of this because this is probably gonna go on for fucking ages. So yeah, it opens up. And I've ranked up, and I apparently get a new ability. Awesome. So there's a bunch of things we can do out here in the menus and stuff, like, yeah, that's a rank up event. I don't want to do that because I'll take ages. So if I hit the square button, I can pull out my personal journal. This is only something you can have on your custom characters. You can also play as other characters in the another mode, which lets you fiddle around with their skills and stuff like that. But for now, you've only got your character in the story mode. And you can come here and see how your relationships are and how they're doing with everybody else. And as you can see, there is a ton of relationships to have. That's like 20 right there, and I'm pretty sure there's more. You can also come here to see your character's skills. I didn't mean to press a square button there. I keep forgetting the square button is to close the bloody journal, but let's just open that right back up. You can come here to see your character's skills and how they're doing in any particular area. You can also see your overall stats. Pretty basic stuff. Your equipment, your playtime. And you can also come here to see things like cutscenes. Which is quite nice, actually, just in case you wanted to come back and watch them again. And for the purpose of demonstration, I'll show you one. Can I show you one, actually? Oh no, this just must be story summary. Okay, my bad. It looked like a cutscene thing, but we'll see if we can see one later on. And what was the last tab again? I think it was characters. Right, so I believe we've just picked one here. Yep, there's a character summary for you. So we'll just hit the square button and get out of that. Now if we get the triangle button, not the triangle button, the start button, I guess? Yeah, start button, we get an entirely different menu for whatever bloody reason. So you can see where all your characters are, and you've also got what's basically a fast travel system. So yeah, it lets you basically go wherever you want and do specific things. So if we hit start again, we can also head over to our equipment screen, where we can use different consumable items and different horses and pieces of equipment, and they've all got their own individual stats, and these can all be both individually upgraded and merged with other equipment for smaller stat boosts. We'll get into the crafting and how it works later. You can also come here to equip your different skills. So as you can see, I've got 49 SP right now. You get more SP as you level up, and the different skills are unlocked as I showed you before by ranking up with different people. You got a ton of different menus here that I haven't actually been too deep into. All your materials from finishing missions, gifts from other people, your like your chat things for when you go online. Here's where you can go to get to your tutorials in case you need to read them again. That's for the another mode. And then if you head over to the next menu, you can come here to save manually and change your settings, just like you could do back down the main menu. Pretty simple stuff. So the general idea is that you want to be just wandering over to people and getting into the conversations with them until they let you go to the next story mission. You can also do things out here like go to the shops and places, but we'll just see if we can hop into a mission right away so we don't spend too long out in the menu, since we've already been here for about 10 minutes. Thankfully, it looks like we are going straight into a mission based purely on the fact that it dropped us straight into a really long loading screen, so thankfully, we should be into gameplay within a few more seconds. The loading times are alright. This is actually the longest loading time I've seen since I've started the game, which is kind of surprising, actually. Thankfully, once you get into the game, there's no loading screens for like 15 to 20 minutes, so it's not a big deal there. So let's just hop straight on into a mission, shall we? Oh, it's a cutscene. Great. I'll put this down and just let you listen for a bit.
速やかに任務を完了し、我々は次の壁外調査の準備に取り掛からねばならない。みんな、頼んだぞ。
ねえ、エルヴィン、この新兵の子を参加させてもいいかな。
小規模な任務とはいえ、巨人との戦闘は不可避だぞ。班長、それでも参加させたいのか。
今回の任務は経験を積ませるのにちょうどいいと思うんだ。私がしっかり見てるからさ。
私から強制はしないが、君はどうしたい？そうか。では君にも参加してもらおう。今回の経験が君の成長の糧となるなら、私も嬉しい。
ハンジ、そいつはお前が連れてきたんだ。お前がきっちり面倒を見るんだろうな。
それはもちろんだよ。君も遠慮しないで、困った時はいつでも私を呼んでよね。
そんなこと言って、巨人が現れたら新兵のことなんてほったらかしになるんじゃないですか。
オルオ、何か言ったかい？
何も。
新兵については全員でサポートしてくれ。
Alright, that's enough of that, I reckon. Just a little bit of voice acting sampling for you there, and we are indeed off on a mission, apparently. The question is, what the fuck are we doing? Oh well, might as well get straight into it. So, here's how the combat works in Attack on Titan 2. You have your omnidirectional gear, and your omnidirectional gear allows you to be very mobile, but you're also fighting against these gigantic bloody titans, which are gigantic humans that will eat your face if you let them. And you do not want them to do that. To do that, you can lock onto them using the R button, and you can select one of multiple parts to target. Now, the different parts can have materials on them, as signified via a gold bit of a gold nugget, I guess is what you'd call it, on the particular part. However, all Titans, one way or another, are taken out via hitting them on the nape, which is the area on the back of the neck, if you don't know what that term means. So, the general idea for taking out Titan is to weaken its individual body parts first off, then to attack like the back of the neck. I can also send in someone to do it for me, which I'm going to do because apparently I'm having really bad luck with missed shots today. Thankfully, there are things like Titans that only need to take one shot at the back of the neck and they'll be done, more or less. You're coming with me. So the controls for this are actually pretty simple, but they're a little confusing until you get the hang of them. The general idea is that you want to press the R button to lock on. The triangle button will get you a... I should probably go over there and help, shouldn't I? The R button will get you the lock on, and if you press the triangle button, it will get you a lock onto whatever part of the body that you've targeted. And you will start flying towards it. You can modify your angle of approach via using the analog stick, which is very useful. To do the attack, you press the triangle button again once you are, well, basically ready to attack. It relies on your timing. There are some times when you won't be able to attack as well, because you may well fall foul of something along the lines of, like, say, running into another body part of a Titan, for example. Right? So, like, say if I were to try and attack his neck now, I will actually run into his body, and that will cause me to fall off. And actually getting attacks on Titans properly is very important in this game. Because depending on how well you actively take down a Titan, you'll actually get a ranking for it. Like, for example, this Titan here will only give me a silver ranking because I fucked up one attack. If you fuck up no attacks on a Titan, like at all, you will get... I fucked it up there because I must have run into like another body part or something. But if you fuck up no attacks at all, you'll get a gold. If you fuck up 2 or 3 attacks, you'll get a bronze. And yada 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 as you continue on. I've currently fucked up my blade. I need to replace my blade. But yeah. Generally, the better you do against Titans, the better you'll do in the overall score of the mission. You are ranked on missions via how many Titans you destroy, how quickly you do it, as in the entire mission, I should say. And what was the last one? I can't remember what the last thing was. But oh well, yeah, you get ranked on all of these things. So yeah, generally you want to take them out as fast as you can just because it'll bring you different things. To navigate around the battlefield with your omnidirectional gear, you can also use the square button. The square button, funnily enough, isn't an attack button like every fucking Koei Tecmo game ever. But it's actually the button to use your omnidirectional gear, which will hook up these lines here to pretty much anything that you can grab onto, and then you will just go flying. Sometimes you won't be able to do this, like you'll be out in the middle of open ground and you won't actually be able to hook onto anything, right? So you won't be able to fly across the scene or anything. This doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, so it's worth noting. You do also have the ability to like walk up walls, or certain walls I should say. Like you're not walking up these cliff faces here, but you can definitely walk up like the side of a small building. You do also have the ability to do things like double jumps, and being able to do things like double jumps in order to get a little bit of extra maneuverability is really nice. Let's pull that up. However, these both come with a cost, and as you can see in the bottom left corner of the screen there, you have durability meters for both your blades and your gas canisters, which power your omnidirectional gear. And these need to be replenished. You do get a fair amount of it, and I don't think these really... Well, you do need to replenish them from time to time, but it's not a massive issue, at least on the easy and normal difficulties, both of which I've played. I haven't tried hard. I've been perfectly satisfied with how easy and normal difficulty modes work. But yeah, just worth mentioning. You come over here to these supply depots and actually replenish your stock. You do also have a couple of extra abilities you can use. Like, for example, if I hit down on the D-pad, I'll do a flash grenade, which will temporarily stun an enemy, which means I can basically just send dudes in to wipe the floor with them. You do have a bunch of other things you can do as well. Like, you've got commandable teammates, which you can use via holding the L button and pressing any button on the directional pad. And these guys can do anything from free flash grenades and healing potions to actual attacks on the enemy. And these are both very useful in certain situations. For example, I actually quite enjoy being able to order dudes around because it means I can just sit back and watch them do a bunch of damage to the Titans instead of actually having to go and do it myself, which I can absolutely appreciate considering how badly I can screw things up from time to time. You do also have buildable bases. This is one right here. And you can choose to build whatever kind of base you like. Like, for example, if I go for the one at the bottom left here, this is actually a mineral base. And mineral bases will give me more materials at the end of the day. So, you do want to build as many of these bases as you feel is necessary, because the bases are actually very useful. Like, for example, the only 4 bases that I've got unlocked right now are a automatic cannon base, a manual cannon base, a supply depot, which will let me replenish stuff as I've already shown off, and that mineral base there. But they are very useful, especially against the more powerful kinds of Titans. You definitely do have Titans that require a bit more effort to take down, and the cannons are very good at doing that. You want the cannons to be in and helping you if you can have them. Because Titans, as you can see, are incredibly dangerous. You can die very easily in this game. Like that little quick time event there, if I didn't succeed at that, which It's not particularly hard, but if you're hurt, it will be very, very hard to pull off. Titans are very dangerous. They have their things that they can do to actually do massive amounts of damage to you, and you want to be very careful when you're dealing with them, because they can very easily grab you and leave you in a state of vulnerability. I screwed up the angle of approach there, and I paid for it. Let's see if this works better. Much better. They do also have the ability to basically lock onto you, and make it so that not only does your dudes on the left there, it just cancels out their timers so they don't replenish while they're locked onto you. But they will actively hunt you down and try and take you out, which is a very bad thing indeed, because you do not want them to be doing that. It'll also make them a lot harder to attack them, because, watch this. See, I did a lot less damage there than I normally would have done. You can use flash grenades to pull them out of this basically immediately, but flash grenades are limited, so generally a good idea is to try and stay out of the way for as long as possible. Let's send in 2 dudes and try and take out that dude's arm. Unfortunately, I think he's gone too far away, so it won't actually pull that off. We also have someone in trouble over there, and I'm not going to reach them. Like, he's just going to get eaten. Poor fucking dude. There are side missions that can come up from time to time, like you can see on my, I'm just going to replace this with an automatic cannon, just so these guys don't end up in too much trouble. Oh dear. Oh, here we go again. Yeah, like, look at that. There's like 3 Titans around here, and they're all just fucking swarming. But yeah, we'll leave the automatic cannon turret to take care of that, and we'll go and see what the side mission's about. So, side missions in this game are something you want to do pretty regularly, because not only will they usually give you something along the lines of like an extra dude, which might be very useful to you, like in a battle or whatever, but they will also give you a supply flare, and the supply flares are what you use to build your constructible bases. They are very useful indeed. God damn it, get out of the way, you stupid fucking Titan. Unfortunately, I might not actually make this mission. Although the side missions are usually really simple, it's basically just once you get to a spot, see that Titan? Take him out. And we will do so with a bunch of these special time animations. The main characters in this game get their own special attacks, and these special attacks are actually very effective. Like, you just saw the S rank one there. It's going to take 90 seconds to recharge, but on any Titan that isn't like one of the really powerful ones that require you to weaken them first, it's basically an instant kill. So you want to be using the really powerful ones as you see fit. Let's just replenish all my stuff. There's a couple of other things I haven't talked about yet, but you get a little scope on the top right corner of the touchscreen, which will let you actually do things like sneak attacks. Let's see if I can actually pull one off here. I can't actually see him right now. The downside is that if the guy actually sees you, it's actually more likely to get a lock on, as you can see, and you'll just end up in trouble if you try and do it like when a dude's looking directly at you. Like, it's a really bad idea. Like, as you can see here, being locked on, he grabbed me, and that turned out very badly for me. I'm going to try and run away, but I'm apparently not in a very good spot right now. Thank you. Let's get up there and actually help out. There we go. Bronze takedown, not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, if you aim your scope at a Titan for long enough, it will give you a prompt to do a sneak attack, which is very powerful. So let's actually try and do it on this one, because he wasn't looking this way when he faded out. Okay, let's give this a shot. I don't see the blue trees. See, look, he saw me, and he's not very happy about it. Alright, I'm gonna give up trying to do that for the time being. Actually, no, now that I've stunned him, I should be able to do this. There we go, sneak attack. Unfortunately, I fucked it up, because the timing on that one is actually different from irregular attacks, and I'm having a ton of trouble figuring that one out. So yeah. It's a pretty basic system. Really easy to understand. once you get your head around it. Might take a little while if you're playing it in, like, not English, but again, you can literally just go and watch a stream of, like, the first couple of hours of, like, the console versions of the game, and outside of the change controls, you really won't have that big of an issue figuring out what's going on, which is really nice. It's pretty similar to the first game, actually. And the actual gameplay is pretty cool. Like, the whole swinging around on the bloody omnidirectional gear and trying to avoid the attacking titans and just wiping the floor with as many of them as you possibly can. Really engaging stuff. It works really well. Oh dear. I'm going to try and build an automated turret and I'm going to walk away because you don't want to be around 3 titans. Because if one grabs you, you take a bunch of damage, then if another grabs you, you won't survive the QTE the second time around because you do take a ton of damage when you get grabbed. But yeah, the whole gameplay idea of swinging around the titans and beating the ever-loving shit out of them, really engaging. It was engaging in the first game, it's still pretty engaging in the second game. It is a Omega Force game though, and they're the people who make Dynasty Warriors, so if that doesn't give you the idea of what you're going for here, which is a relatively repetitive scene of beating crap out of everything that gets in your way, in relatively the same way every single time, yeah, that's the general type of game that this game is, right? So you generally end up in a situation where it starts to get a bit repetitive after a while, and that isn't helped by the stage length. In story mode and another mode, this can be anywhere upwards of 20 minutes, and it can get really boring really fast. Oh look, it's one of the really powerful pain-in-the-ass titans. Let's just get ourselves a cannon first, so that we don't have to deal with this shit for too long. So the general idea with these titans here is that you just need to try and attack their weak spots, which is the glowing parts. And if you attack the glowing parts enough, eventually it'll bring him down to his knees like this, and then you can do this, which is basically just get as much damage in on him as possible, and eventually you will take him down. Wow, he's not even dead yet, good god. But yeah, you get the general idea. You just need to do as much damage as you possibly can. And your teammates will follow you around and like fly around, and you can watch them flying around and actually attacking dudes. This is actually really cool. Like they've done a really good job with 2, with making it look like a great big fight, and the music specifically actually really helps with this. Just to use an example, like pretty much every music track I've heard so far in this game is more or less something along the lines of like some massive choir going off in the background, and it's all stupid dramatic, and it's just, yeah, it does a good job of making you feel like you're in the middle of a gigantic fight. You are definitely one of the more powerful people in the game, despite the fact that you're literally a rookie by story standards. But at the same time, it does work really well in making you feel like you're really a part of this gigantic fight. And people will die, and dudes will just get the shit kicked out of them, left and right. You won't be able to save all of them, even on easy difficulty. So, yeah, it's worth noting that you will fail once or twice. You will get the shit beaten out of you, yada 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 yada. It works really well, because again, the Titans are a real threat. You really want to be careful with them. And yeah, I like the gameplay. To be fair, I like Dynasty Warriors, so I like this. If you aren't a particularly big fan of repetitive games, you probably want to be careful about deciding whether or not you want to pick this one up. But at the same time, really not that big of a deal if you didn't mind like the first game, for example, because it's a pretty big step up. One of the biggest ways it's a step up? The performance. Now, I did say on Twitter when I was talking about this that this game is... It solved most of the performance issues. And I say this with a grain of salt because it didn't exactly solve all of the game's performance issues, but it did solve a lot of them. Like in the first game, a Titan dying and the effect going on because of that was enough to bring the game to its knees most of the time. Now, in this game, you can bring it to its knees, well, not relatively easily, but generally speaking, you'll need to have like 4 or 5 Titans on the screen before the game really starts to chug. Like, just fighting this one here right now is actually really smooth in comparison to the first game. The controls are still really responsive. It's still pretty fluid, like not amazingly fluid, like you're gonna get better on the console versions, obviously, but I'll give them a ton of credit. It's still really playable, even when you're fighting like 2 or 3 titans at once. It is really a step up from the first game's level of performance, and I can really appreciate that it's doing such a good job with its overall performance, at least within the first like 4 hours. I can't say if there are any like majorly I'll just skip the rest of these cutscenes. I can't say if there are any major stages in the game that cause I remember what the third one is. It's Titans defeated, side missions completed, and overall time of the mission, right? But yeah, I can't say if there are any missions later on in the game that would cause any major issues with the game's performance. But from what I've seen so far, it's way better than the first game, and makes it a lot more tolerable to play in comparison, which is a really big disappointment, because now I'm really disappointed that it didn't actually come out here, because I might actually keep playing it on the Vita if I feel like it, because, yeah, it's a massive step up from the first game, actually, just in general performance. Like, I'm legitimately really impressed. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't localize this one, just because I'd recommend this game over the first game in pretty much every situation imaginable. I don't want to talk to her, because I'm pretty sure it's going to give me a side mission, so I don't think there's anything else for me to actually do out here. There might be, like, extra, like, training missions and stuff like that I can do, but let's just pull out and go and have a look at the other modes, since we're already half an hour in, and we don't want to spend too long hanging around the story mode. But yeah, as you can see, finished a mission, and it actually put me back here, which is really nice, because as I said before, the first 8 missions were, like, in a row. You can't go back to that hub. But yeah, let's go and have a look at the other mode first, which they call it another mode in the English version of the game. I don't know why they call it that. They should just call it, like, mercenary mode or something. But yeah, you can come here and pick any character you like. I'm going to stick with my custom character just for the purpose of demonstration, but you can pick pretty much any major character from the series here. So yeah, you got the Scout Regiment, you've got the main posse and all that. Like, there's like 30 characters here. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, let's just go with my main character here. So there are 3 modes for this game. Now, I'm going to pop into the online version of it first, because there's online, there's offline, and then there's ad hoc, which is actually kind of a nice little feature to have. But the online mode actually has a bunch of different... There we go. The online mode actually has a bunch of extra things that I won't be able to show off in this video, but I'll just go into this version of the mode anyway to point them out. It actually took me a little while to figure out that you had to go to the second option if you wanted to play by yourself, but there are a bunch of things here. Like, there's an SOS mode, for example, where you can go and help other people on their missions if they're having trouble. There's a... what's the word I'm looking for? A competitive mode, even. Like, seriously, there's a full-on competitive mode where you can play online with other people for, like, a high score. And you can also come here and play any investigation you've unlocked online, which is actually pretty neat. There's your investigations. I'll explain what those are shortly. We'll be swapping back to the offline mode anyway, because if you actually go on a mission on this, it will put you into a hut where you'll have to wait 3 minutes for anyone to show up, and if no one shows up, you're done. Like, it'll just kick you back out to this. Over here is where you go to actually play the competitive stuff, but as far as I can tell, there's no way to actually play that, like, offline. You can also come over here. I don't know what this is exactly. I think it's some kind of special investigation mode where you can go and play special missions to unlock special equipment, but I'm not exactly sure what this is or how it works. And as you can see, I don't really have the resources to do anything like that anyway, so yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that dude there. He might just be a special online store, but yeah, we're just going to pull back out to the main menu, and we're going to pop back in the offline mode, and I'll show off the weapon crafting and all of that before we go hop into an investigation to top off this video, because we are already 34 minutes in and I feel like I haven't stopped talking, which is actually kind of impressive for me. So, offline mode. There's only a couple of things you can do here, which is your weapon crafting and your investigation. They call them something else, I think, in the English version, but I don't remember. So let's go and show off all the crafting stuff you can do here. So, we can come over here, I believe, to get different clothes and stuff. I think this is where you come to change your character, but we'll come have a look anyway just to see what it looks like. So yeah, here's your character creation stuff. There's a lot of it, and you can modify what your character seems to look like at any time, which is really nice, actually. I went for a relatively cute lady. Let's give her an eye patch. Well, not so much an eye patch, but cover up her eye, because why not? You would think depth perception would be really important in this world, but I think I didn't actually save it. You need to save it. You need to save it in a specific way. It's kind of odd. So let's go and actually have a look at our equipment stuff. First off, we've got horses. I don't think you can do anything with horses except buy or sell them, but I've already bought the one horse that was there. We can come here to buy and sell materials. I actually have a lot of the materials here, so there's no need for me to buy or sell anything right now. And if we talk to this guy here, this is where we come to do the majority of our weapon crafting stuff. So, weapons, as you can see, have their own individual statistics, and they are specific to every particular weapon. I'll just buy this weapon here. I should have equipped that while I was here, actually. And you can also get different maneuver gear and different blade. One's maneuver gear, one's gear, but you get the general idea, right? You can improve your general stats and stuff here by collecting materials from the particular missions. You can also come here to upgrade them. So if I select this weapon here, I need 2 gold nuggets, whatever the bloody hell those things are, in order to upgrade that to a high quality sword. I can also upgrade this here, but I also need some materials that I don't have. I can also come here to select a weapon, select another weapon, which I don't actually have apparently, but I can select another weapon and apply it to this weapon, and it'll give it just like a small stat boost. I can also come here to sell stuff. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary for a Omega Force game, so I'll just go and equip that sword that I just got, and we will go and head off into a mission, because I don't really see the need to do anything else right now. So, let's wander over here and go to our investigations. So the way the investigations work is pretty simple. You're given a certain set of missions, like for example, if I go to this one here, it'll give me 3 missions. If I go to this one here, it'll give me 5. So we're gonna go with the one that gives me 3 missions, because I don't want to be here fucking forever. And when you do an investigation, it's basically just traveling around this little map, and the more investigations you do, the more parts of the map you'll unlock, so the more missions you'll be able to go do, right? And the better you do, the more resources you get, and then you can just reinvest that into making more equipment, which you can then go back into more missions with better equipment. You get the general idea. It's your very basic Omega Force gameplay loop for a spin-off of a Dynasty Warriors game. Really basic stuff, and that kind of disappoints me. I was hoping for a little bit more, and having there being, like, competitive modes is probably what I was hoping for and stuff like that, but to be fair, at the same time, if you were going to ask me to design an extra mode for a Omega Force game, I wouldn't really know what the fuck to tell you. So, let's just move on and actually do the mission, shall we? We do have horses, and they do have their own stamina meters, but generally, you don't want to be around, generally you don't want to be on the horse for too long. Oh, great. I can just, I can just go around and I'll beat the crap out of these dudes. You do run across a bunch of extra side missions, and that will actually have a bunch of dudes from the main series and of course the main game. So you will end up doing, you'll end up improving your relationship slightly with characters you save via the side missions if you are the custom character, which is why I came to actually play them here. Although you can't actually like improve your standing with them until you go back and play the story mode. So yeah. You're coming with me because I want to talk to. Let's just avoid the surprisingly shaky hand there. But yeah, overall, Attack on Titan 2, it feels like, it does feel a lot more like a Extreme Legends style expansion to Attack on Titan than it does like Attack on Titan 2. But at the same time, it's skill basically, like, it is a pretty big add-on for the original game, right? Like, being able to do your own custom character and basically rewriting the entire story, rewriting the entire story and remaking the entire story around that entire concept. And the, you know, the whole relationships thing going on, and the fact that they've made some major improvements to the performance of the game, and just all of that stuff, it really is a significant upgrade. So I don't want to say it doesn't feel like a 2, but I don't want to say it also seems like an Extreme Legend, just mainly because of how much of an effort has gone into improving this game. Like, seriously, it is a major improvement over the first title. And if I had to recommend one of the two, it would definitely be this one over the original, just because of, seriously, it's a big step up. I do appreciate being able to audio do, like, I admit it's been a long time since I played the original Attack on Titan, so I might be misremembering how that game worked, but I appreciate the new building system. I appreciate how you can order dudes around to make things a little bit easier on you, to let off on the repeatness of the level structure a little bit, and just, like, it seriously seems a lot more polished than I remember the first game being. And as a result, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Like, seriously, I'm surprised at how much I'm having fun with this. Just beating the crap out of these Titans over and over and over again is actually a lot more... It's a lot more cathartic than I remember the first game being. So... yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Fuck me. I'm really bad with my positioning on this one. Although it doesn't really help that the Titans themselves have this annoying tendency to get stuck on buildings and stuff like that. It's not major, but it's worth pointing out. So every expedition mission, investigation mission, whatever you want to call it, has had a pretty simple premise. Do as many side missions as you feel like, and when you feel like it, go and do the main mission, highlighted via the red exclamation point, which is usually one of those big red dudes. So generally what I want to do is I want to try and find like an area that I can put down a cannon or something to help us out. Right, there's one over here. You know what, I'll go into manual cannon this time, just to show you what it's like. So yeah, you just blow the crap out of him. Here's the problem though. Yep, he just grabs you. He just grabs you straight out of that fucking cannon if you let him, which is surprisingly annoying. Alright, I should lock onto the little one, because if he touches me, I'm in trouble. So yeah, fuck you. Oh, he just grabbed down, that's armor by the looks of it. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, that guy's in trouble too. I should help him out if I can. Send a dude to the back of the neck while I pop back into the cannon and then just blow his arm away, because his arm is his weak spot. There we go. I should just hit him in the back of the neck, honestly. There we go. And that's the end of that. Some of these missions will actually go for a fair bit longer, because there'll be a lot of side missions to do, and there'll be... I'll do one more, just so you're not, just so we can round this up to like an even like 50 minutes or something like that. But yeah, that's the general idea. English friendliness, as I said before, isn't really that big of a problem, since you can go and look up like guides and shit for this game in English, because they'll exist in a while. And I don't know what sort of DLC they'll be adding to this one, but you know, if you're an Attack on Titan fan and you really have to play this game on the Vita, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to pick this up. Because it works surprisingly well, which is actually a pretty high praise. So yeah, you can modify your weapon materials here. You can go back to the main menu, not the main menu, the original HQ if you like, by pressing the square button. But I'm going to press the triangle button, and we're just going to go on and do the next mission. There might be more objectives to this as we get further on in the game, but, you know, this is first impressions, this isn't a review. If I went through and finished the game completely, I would give it a full review, but That's not my style. Loading time, loading time. Alright, we got 2 side missions to do and 2 goals to meet. So yeah, I imagine that by the time we're done here, we'll have shown off a fair amount of the game. So, let me just get this horse over the fence, thank you. Rebuild this to be a material spot, because why not? This is, his name's not Aaron. Aaron. That's his name. Yeah, we gotta go and help Aaron. Beat the crap out of many of these dudes as we possibly can. Oh, fucked up the timing on that one there. There we go, much better. Oh, look, civvies. Civilians. Apparently there's another side mission over here. I wonder what this is about. That would be the side mission. Okay. Both of you, just go and chop this one off. They almost had him. Alright. My turn. Oh shit, okay. Better get over there and help them. I can. Go straight to the back of the neck, I reckon. You can also hit the X button to accelerate in order to get some more damage in if you feel like it, but I don't have trouble hitting the attack timing normally. Damn. Alright, hit him in the arm so I get the material, please. But yeah, Attack on Titan 2, just overall, while we go through the final little bit of this, well, not like the final little bit of this mission, but as we go through this mission. God damn it. It's really good. Like, surprisingly good. I didn't think this was going to turn out as well as it did, but I'm really enjoying it, surprisingly. I'm having a fair bit of fun playing it, and I hope this is what people who were hoping for the sequel were hoping for. It just seems like an enhanced version of the first game, but they really have made a pretty big difference to the overall quality of it. And I acknowledge that, and I realize that this is actually a really nice improvement in comparison to how the game was originally. Oh dear, we have more Titans that came out of like bloody nowhere, but okay. Yeah. That guy really doesn't like me. I can do a sneak attack on, no, let's not do that. Oh, that's what these guys are standing right here. Put the back of the neck, please. Those guys can fail if you're too far out or if you're behind too many buildings, by the way. Just throwing them willy-nilly. I suggest actually like being relatively close and having a sort of plan. There we go. Nice and dead. And we got Aaron as a support buddy, which he isn't actually that helpful as a support buddy, at least yet. Like, sure, he does more damage than the default dudes, which is nice and all that. I'm just saying, he's not particularly more useful. Doesn't have any special attacks or anything. It'd be nice if he just, spoiler alert, transformed into the giant titan and just beat the crap out of dudes for like 30 seconds. That would actually be pretty cool. Like, the mission where he turns into said giant titan and, like, he's got the big rock and he's gonna go and block the dude, block the hole in the wall, and you just end up going like, how do I put this? Where you just end up escorting him down and there's titans flying in from everywhere and there's dudes trying to protect him, and it just, like, they do a really good job with presenting that without making the game entirely unplayable, which, you know, considering how bad the first game was performance-wise, I'm still really impressed by. Wow, really? What's going on down there exactly? I should probably get back on the horse. These tires just keep spawning in. What the fuck? Aaron, take care of that one, please. No, it doesn't appear he even managed to make the target. Alright, my turn. Oh, but he himself is about to be eaten by a titan, and I'm not going to be able to do that much about it except flashbang. Yay, flashbang! Saved him from getting his ass eaten. Pick up his arm again and swing! And beat the crap out of the back of his neck while he's doing this. Awesome. Oh, thank God, finally. It's actually done. Let's go and do this side mission up the front here. And I also apparently got... Is that Potato Girl? I think that's Potato Girl. Someone small go take care of that small dude. Someone small take care of that small dude, please. Thank you. And... Ooh, dear. Beat him senseless. There we go. Alright, and I've got her as a partner. And we have yet another side mission to go do up here. What about you? How do you do with two dudes trying to take you out? Dead. Very good. Now let's help out what's his face. Fucking stun grenade, why not? It is quite easy to get knocked ass over the head when Titans come swinging, we'll put it that way. Finish that guy off for me while I get my blades and my gas canister hooked back up. There we go. Alright, now we got two major Titans to go take care of, and oh shit. Grenade, flash grenade, please. Fucked up the timing, of course it did. Thankfully he's dead, and the lock on means nothing now he's dead. Apparently we took out 2 times at once. Kind of impressive, actually. Oh dear. Ooh, assist! Awesome! Thanks for the save, you lady. Alright, big dude. I have no health. That's a bad thing. Should heal up. And run! Damn it! Well, thank God I healed. Because if I didn't heal, I would have no time to finish that bloody QTE. I need to go make a cannon. Thankfully, there appears to be one just right here. If I can just... Right. Can't turn off the lock on while he's locked onto me because they want me to be alert to the fact that I've got a big red dude chasing me down. Not something I thought I'd say today, but... While I was playing Attack on Titan, what was I expecting? Automated cannon, please. Now I heal. Now I run away. Flash grenade. Alright, his weak spot's on his leg. There he goes. Simple enough. Where's the other dude? Okay, so apparently he already spawned, which is weird. Usually they're not supposed to spawn until you get close to them, but oh well. Let's go take him out anyway. Really should have taken my horse, but oh well.
ここに立ててほしいの。
These are some really powerful farts. There he is. Right. Let's do the smart thing. Automate the cannon here. And an automated cannon here. Now we've got 2 cannons attacking him. We can send in the cavalry to attack his weak spots. And down he goes. Easy done. So yeah. That was a look at Attack on Titan 2. I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of improvements over the first game. A lot of improvements. And thankfully the technical performance is actually way better than the first game. So it actually stays fun to play and you don't really have to worry too much about running into performance issues. And yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. And it's perfectly, well, it's not so much perfectly playable if you don't know Japanese, but I mean, you can literally go look up videos of the English version if you really want to play this version so badly. So, there you go. Does that count as a recommend? I guess you'd have to be a fan of the series to really get the most enjoyment out of it, but if you're not a fan of the series or anything like that, probably wait until it goes on some sort of sale. But it's still a good game, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit, so let's just head back to the main menu, shall we? Oh no, this will just take me back to the main camp. Yeah, this video doesn't need to be 1 second longer than this, so I'm just going to end it off here. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.